Tiffany Henyard's political career in Dalton, Illinois, has taken a dramatic and shocking turn. Once considered a rising force in local politics, she now finds herself at the center of a massive scandal that has rocked the small town and left its residents in utter disbelief. Henyard, who controversially held two political positions at once, serving as mayor of Dalton while allegedly maintaining an undisclosed role in another municipality, was arrested by the FBI during a city council meeting on charges of embezzling $2 million in public funds. Her arrest wasn't just another headline, it was the culmination of months of speculation, controversy, and growing distrust. Rumors of corruption and financial mismanagement had been swirling around Henyard for some time, but the revelation of her alleged theft has shocked even her most vocal critics. This isn't just a case of missing taxpayer dollars, it's a stunning betrayal of public trust. For years, Henyard made grand promises to revitalize Dalton, pledging to repair its crumbling infrastructure and invest in essential public services. Instead, the accusations suggest that she funneled taxpayer money for her personal gain, leaving the town in financial ruin. What makes this scandal even more explosive are allegations that Henyard used the stolen funds to bankroll a life of luxury. Lavish shopping sprees, extravagant vacations, and high-end personal expenses. The very money that was meant to fix roads, upgrade the water system, and fund essential services was reportedly funneled into her own pockets. For the people of Dalton, the betrayal cuts deep. One outraged resident summed up the growing anger, "She should be fixing our streets, not lining her pockets." The news has sent shockwaves through the town. Once a quiet village, Dalton is now in turmoil as residents grapple with the reality that the person they entrusted with their town's future may have used that trust for personal enrichment. And with the FBI's involvement, the scandal has only intensified. Each day brings new revelations about the extent of Henyard's alleged fraud, painting a picture of a calculated and well-organized scheme to drain public funds for personal benefit. As investigators dig deeper, it's becoming clear that this wasn't just an isolated incident. Henyard's financial dealings appear to be part of a much larger pattern of corruption. Her political career, once seen as a beacon of change, is now a symbol of everything wrong with Dalton's local government. The anger among residents has reached a boiling point. Many who once supported her now feel utterly betrayed. "We trusted her to make things better," one resident lamented, "and this is what we get in return." But just when it seemed like things couldn't get any worse, Henyard made a shocking announcement. Despite the overwhelming allegations and legal troubles, she still intends to run for re-election. The move has been met with widespread outrage. How could she possibly ask for the people's votes after allegedly stealing from them? One frustrated citizen put it bluntly, "She's robbing us blind and still wants to be mayor? This is insanity." And the scandals don't stop there. In a bizarre twist, Henyard is also facing eviction. Despite reportedly earning a six-figure salary as mayor, she has allegedly failed to pay rent on her property since August. Her landlord, Janetta Ho, has taken legal action to remove her, further tarnishing Henyard's already crumbling reputation. This revelation only adds another layer to the growing controversy, highlighting a stark contradiction. If Henyard can't manage her own finances, how can she be trusted to handle the finances of an entire town? Making matters worse, reports suggest that Henyard even changed the locks on the property, preventing her landlord from carrying out the eviction. This brazen move has only reinforced the perception that she is out of touch with reality and unwilling to accept accountability for her actions. The pattern of personal and professional mismanagement mirrors the larger corruption scandal that has come to define her time in office. The people of Dalton are furious. Many are demanding to know how someone accused of such blatant misconduct is still in power. If she has failed to manage her own financial responsibilities, how can she be trusted to oversee taxpayer dollars? Each new revelation further shatters public trust, leaving residents to wonder just how deep the corruption runs. But instead of stepping down, Henyard is doubling down. She continues to push forward with her political ambitions, despite the overwhelming evidence and backlash. This move is widely seen as a desperate attempt to cling to power at all costs, demonstrating just how disconnected she has become from the reality of her situation. Once hailed as a promising leader, she is now viewed as the embodiment of everything that's wrong with Dalton's government. What began as a series of questionable decisions has escalated into a full-blown crisis. The town's infrastructure is crumbling, public services are underfunded, and faith in local leadership has been shattered. The FBI's investigation into Henyard's financial dealings is still ongoing, and many believe the worst is yet to come. With each passing day, the evidence against her continues to mount, and the possibility of serious legal consequences becomes more real. For Dalton, the road to recovery will be long and painful. The damage left in Henyard's wake is profound, and it will take years to rebuild trust in the local government. Many residents are struggling to come to terms with the harsh reality that the very person they elected to improve their lives may have instead used her position to exploit them. Despite her insistence on running for re-election, the odds of Henyard regaining power are dwindling by the day. The public's anger is growing, and her reputation has been permanently stained. The people of Dalton want accountability, and it seems increasingly unlikely that she will be able to escape the consequences of her actions. With the FBI's investigation ongoing and new details emerging, one thing is certain: Tiffany Henyard's political career is hanging by a thread. What was once a promising rise to power has now descended into a spectacle of corruption, mismanagement, and scandal. The people of Dalton are left to pick up the pieces of a town in crisis, wondering if their community will ever recover from the damage she has done. As the story continues to unfold, the real question remains: will Henyard finally be held accountable for her actions, or will the cycle of corruption in Dalton continue? Stay tuned as we bring you the latest updates on this shocking political drama. The fallout is far from over, and the truth behind Dalton's biggest scandal is still being uncovered. Tiffany Henyard's political career in Dalton, Illinois, has taken a stunning and scandalous turn. Once seen as a rising star in local politics, she now finds herself at the center of a shocking controversy that has left residents outraged and disillusioned. Henyard, who simultaneously held two political positions, mayor of Dalton and an undisclosed role in another municipality, was dramatically arrested by the FBI during a city council meeting, accused of embezzling a staggering $2 million in public funds. This arrest is just the latest chapter in a long history of political turmoil surrounding Henyard. For months, rumors of corruption and financial mismanagement swirled around her administration, but the revelations of outright theft have shocked even her harshest critics. This scandal is not just about stolen taxpayer money, it's about a profound betrayal of public trust. For years, Henyard promised to revitalize the town, fix its crumbling infrastructure, and improve public services. But instead, she allegedly diverted those very funds for her personal gain, leaving Dalton in financial ruin. What makes this controversy even more explosive is the claim that Henyard spent the stolen money on an extravagant lifestyle. Lavish vacations, luxury items, and personal indulgences, all while her town's streets deteriorated. Water systems remained unfixed, and essential services struggled. The very money that was meant to better the lives of Dalton's residents was allegedly funneled into her own pockets, deepening the community's outrage. For many, the betrayal cuts deep. One frustrated resident voiced the anger felt by so many, stating, "She should be fixing the roads, not lining her own pockets." The news has sent shockwaves throughout the town. Once a quiet village, Dalton is now in the national spotlight, grappling with the fact that the very leader they trusted to guide them forward instead used her power for personal enrichment. The FBI's involvement has only intensified the situation, with new details emerging daily about the scale of the alleged fraud. Reports suggest that Henyard's embezzlement wasn't just a one-time act of greed, but part of a well-orchestrated scheme to siphon public funds for her benefit. Her once promising political career is now a symbol of the corruption that has plagued Dalton's government for years. The fury among residents has reached a boiling point. Those who once supported Henyard now feel completely betrayed. As one lifelong Dalton resident put it, "We put our trust in her to make our lives better, and this is what we get in return?" But what has truly pushed the outrage to new levels is Henyard's shocking announcement that she intends to run for re-election, despite the overwhelming evidence against her. Her decision has sparked widespread disbelief. Many residents are questioning how she can, with a straight face, ask for their votes after allegedly stealing from them. One furious citizen condemned her audacity, saying, "How can she even consider running again? After everything she's done, she's still robbing us while pretending to serve us." Henyard's political future is in free fall. And as if things couldn't get worse, she now faces a lawsuit for eviction. Despite reportedly earning a six-figure salary as mayor, she has allegedly failed to pay rent on her property for months. Her landlord, Janetta Ho, took legal action, further tarnishing Henyard's already crumbling reputation. This new revelation only adds another layer to the scandal. How can someone entrusted with managing a town's finances be incapable of handling their own? Henyard's behavior paints a picture of a leader completely out of touch with reality, one who not only mismanages public funds, but also fails to meet her basic financial obligations. To make matters worse, reports claim she even changed the locks on the property to block her eviction, reinforcing the perception that she believes she's above the rules. This pattern of reckless decision-making and financial irresponsibility mirrors the broader corruption and incompetence that have defined her tenure. The public is losing faith not just in Henyard, but in the entire local government structure that enabled her. Many residents are now asking, if she can't even pay her own rent, how can she be trusted to manage the financial stability of an entire town? As the FBI investigation digs deeper, more and more of Henyard's inner circle are distancing themselves from her, realizing that she is no longer a political asset, but a liability. Yet, despite overwhelming opposition, she refuses to step down. Instead, she's doubling down on her narrative, positioning herself as a victim of a political conspiracy, rather than acknowledging the damage she's caused. Her desperation to maintain control has only led to more erratic behavior. In one particularly bizarre incident, Henyard called the police to arrest workers who were simply removing promotional banners from city property. She accused them of stealing government property, a move that highlighted her growing paranoia and obsession with protecting her image over serving the community. Those who were present described her behavior as alarming. One worker noted, "She seemed more focused on saving her own reputation than actually doing her job." This was just one of many moments that isolated her from the rest of the town's leadership. In another striking example, the township supervisor called a special meeting to approve funding for events Henyard had requested. But when the meeting took place, not a single trustee showed up. The complete abandonment of her agenda sent a clear message. Her allies were no longer standing by her. Public meetings that were once meant to discuss solutions for Dalton's crumbling infrastructure and financial crisis have instead devolved into chaotic, shouting-filled spectacles. Walkouts, police involvement, and heated confrontations have become the new normal. Henyard seems more interested in making these events about her personal grievances than actually addressing the real problems facing Dalton's residents. One of her most controversial moves was appointing an unqualified individual as police chief, a blatant attempt to consolidate power. When confronted with criticism, she dismissed concerns as jealousy, refusing to acknowledge the potential dangers of her decision. Instead of listening to the people she was elected to serve, she has chosen to deflect, dismiss, and ignore. The days pass. Her behavior grows more erratic. Federal investigations are underway, with reports suggesting that authorities are actively interviewing witnesses. While the full scope of the investigation remains unclear, the possibility of criminal charges looms large. In a bizarre and desperate attempt to defend herself, Henyard took to Facebook Live for a 90-minute rant against her critics. But rather than gaining sympathy, the broadcast further damaged her already crumbling public image. She even threatened to have anyone who opposed her arrested, a move that shocked viewers and deepened concerns about her growing authoritarian tendencies. One resident put it bluntly, "Threatening to jail people just for disagreeing with her? That's not leadership. That's desperation." As the scandal deepens, it's clear that Henyard has alienated not only her political opponents, but even her once loyal supporters. The frustration in Dalton is growing, and the community's disillusionment with her leadership is undeniable. Despite all of this, Henyard remains defiant, insisting that she will win re-election. In a recent council meeting, she boldly declared, "I'm coming in strong. The people know the truth, and they will stand by me." Comparing herself to former President Donald Trump, she tried to cast herself as a political warrior. But instead of applause, her statement was met with awkward laughter, further highlighting how disconnected she has become from reality. Dalton is now a town in crisis. Public services are underfunded, infrastructure is crumbling, and trust in local government has been shattered. Henyard's continued defiance is only making things worse. The road to rebuilding won't be easy, and for many residents, the damage she has caused may take years to undo. One thing is certain: Tiffany Henyard's political career is hanging by a thread. Whether through legal consequences or the sheer force of public outrage, her days in power appear to be numbered. The only question now is, how much more damage will be done before she's finally removed from office? Tiffany Henyard's tenure as mayor has become increasingly chaotic, with tensions escalating between her and the township leadership. In a move that only deepened the divide, Henyard filed a lawsuit against the trustees for holding meetings without her presence, further exposing the toxic and dysfunctional environment she has fostered. What should have been routine public gatherings focused on governance and progress have instead turned into spectacles of disorder. At one recent meeting, a frustrated resident openly called for her resignation, labeling her leadership disgraceful. Rather than taking responsibility for the turmoil under her administration, Henyard once again painted herself as a victim, deflecting blame onto the trustees and refusing to acknowledge her role in the town's growing instability. One particularly troubling controversy involved an improperly registered foundation that was allegedly created to support local causes. When questioned about the organization's finances and operations, Henyard claimed she had no knowledge of its activities or how much money it had raised, an assertion that only fueled suspicions about the legitimacy of her leadership and decision-making. Meanwhile, the FBI's investigation into her conduct has intensified, leading even some of her most loyal supporters to question her motives. As her inner circle shrinks and the cracks in her authority widen, it becomes increasingly clear that Henyard's grip on power is slipping. Despite mounting pressure from both the public and federal authorities, she remains defiant. In a recent Facebook post, she boldly declared, "They can try to tear me down, but I'm not going anywhere." Instead of reassuring her constituents, the post only deepened public frustration, further alienating her from the very people she was elected to serve. With growing calls for accountability and the weight of a federal probe looming over her, Henyard's refusal to step down raises serious questions about how long she can continue to resist the inevitable. Will her defiance prolong her time in office? Or will the pressure finally force her out? The situation is reaching a boiling point, and the residents of Dalton and Thornton Township are watching closely, eager for resolution. Once seen as a promising leader, Henyard's legacy is now marred by allegations of corruption, financial mismanagement, and an apparent obsession with consolidating power. The only remaining question is not if her downfall will come, but when and how much more damage will be done before she is finally removed from office. As the investigation unfolds, the people of Dalton and Thornton Township can do little but wait, hoping that justice will soon be served, and that their community can begin the long process of rebuilding from the turmoil she has left in her wake.